This is the Silver Wolf Howl. I am Angela, and Sandy Schuter from Strandfontein Community Police Forum joins us today. Hi, Sandy. Welcome to our podcast, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela.
You are involved with the Strandfontein CPF. So let's start by asking, what is a CPF? Tell us more about the CPF in general.
So the CPF stands for Community Police Forums. It is an organization enshrined within the SAPS Act. The purpose of that is to build a relationship with the community and the police. So the CPF is made up of various organizations within a specific community. So those organizations consist of your religious fraternity, your school fraternity, your ECD sector, your safer school sector, your street committees, neighborhood watchers, block watchers, and also your victim support, and also your sports sector, your health sector, and other youth sectors as well. So a representative of each of those organizations can make up of the CPF. And the purpose of the CPF is to obviously engage the police, be the voice of the community with the police, addressing issues, challenges regarding safety with the police, and also other agencies as well, such as your Department of Social Development, Department of Justice, and also various other governmental departments. So we basically have to build relationships on various spheres of government. And that is to drive the issues and the challenges of the community. So the purpose of the Community Police Forum is to also provide an oversight role over the South African police services in terms of safety, in terms of service delivery. So for an example, the police needs to provide a specific quality of service, and if the community does not get that service, the community then engages with the CPF. Listen, this is what has been happening. This is either the poor service I've been experiencing, or this is the good service I've been experiencing. Can you please address this for us on our behalf? So we have our closed CPF executive meetings with the local station. We don't only deal at local level, we deal with SAPs on the cluster level and also provincial and national level as well. So the next step for the CPF is, besides the EXCO meetings at local station level, whatever challenges and issues the station has, for an example, human resources. You can't fight for more police resources at the station level. You have to take it up to the station level, then to the cluster level, which consists of 8 police stations within our cluster. I also serve on that cluster board as well. So if any of those station CPFs address matters with the cluster EXCO, we then have to raise the concerns of that specific community with the cluster commander. And also we use that platform to fight for additional resources. If it doesn't manifest on that level, we address it with the provincial board. So the provincial board consists of, in the Western Cape, we have 151 police stations. Each police station must have a CPF. So each one of those CPFs will get together, they will have an AGM and elect a provincial board. That provincial board then represents all CPFs within the province. And so at station level, we meet at cluster level. Cluster chairperson takes the information to the provincial board. The provincial board then addresses the entire Western Cape CPF or stations challenges to the provincial commissioner. From there, if it cannot be addressed at the provincial level, it then gets escalated to a national level.
Okay. So CPFs play a really vital role in the community then. Let's discuss the Strandfontein CPF particularly. Does it only concern the Strandfontein area?
Yes. Each CPF is confined to their precinct only. So everything within that police precinct, the Strandfontein CPF is responsible to address the entire precinct's safety concerns. That is why when we have our meetings, we have various organization representatives from various pockets of the community, and that includes your informal settlement. It includes your coastal area. So with our coastal area, there is a fisherman's forum. So you have somebody from the fishing forum. Your rate-based association, if you have 5 rate-based associations, all of those 5 representatives need to be in the meeting. So we can hear their challenges and take it up on their behalf. So we only act within the Strandfontein precincts, and so does every other CPF in the community. They can only act within their boundaries.
I see. So, what are the particular areas of concern for the Strandfontein CPF?
At the moment, we have a human resource concern in Strandfontein, and we also have a concern in terms of the development of the area. We don't have not only safety, like I said, we also look at other things as well that contributes to crime in the area. So we have an influx of people moving into the community, setting up illegal structures. They're unemployed. They need to survive. That is when you find our cable thefts, our earth leakage, equipment is being stolen, house breakings. So everything in the community where there is no services or financial support for that specific person or group of people, it impacts the community negatively in terms of crime. So human resources, for an example, we have an additional 1,400 houses that will be built on Earth 1212 in Strandfontein. It impacts the community negatively and also positively. Positively, meaning that our informal settlements will now be moved into a decent home. Negatively, it will also open up the current informal area section where the informal settlement used to be. It's now going to be houses on the opposite side, which means that piece of land is going to be open. It can also then generate more people to that specific plot of land where there were informal settlements, for more people to set up informal structures there with the hopes of having or possibly getting a house in the future. And that also generates not only good people but also negative people with criminal backgrounds or opportunities for, this is a new area, we can do what we want to because nobody knows who we are here. That is why it's important for the CPF, SAPs, and the community to work hand in hand in order to identify the needs within the community. The CPF isn't present in every street. That is why it's important for us to establish street committees in order for that people in that street to report to us, listen, there's activity by this house. That is how we pick up on the trends in our area. We notice there's a lot of housebreaking in that section of Strandfontein. There's possibly interest, maybe an illegal scrapyard, a illegal pawn shop. That is why it's important to register your second hand or your second dealership, because you'll find the criminals know more of what is happening in your community than what you do, especially if you don't keep your finger on the pulse. So everything that happens within the community, it's important for us to know so that we can monitor and manage. And then also it assists the CPF in fighting for additional resources, because with the influx of more people, we need more resources to be able to police that the specific community. We also will be having a college that will be built in the Bayview area. It's going to house 10,000 people. So with 10,000 people, with the amount of people we do have at the police station, we will never be able to manage. With that, the Strandfontein Pavilion, it's going to be demolished and then rebuilt for economic development. With economic development, it generates people to the community. With people moving towards the coastal area, it would require more policing. Even though we depend on our other law enforcement agencies like your law enforcement metro traffic, it is our main, or it's the South African Police Services, it's their primary function is to protect everybody. So whether there are other law enforcement agencies, it is their priority, it's their mandate basically. So that are our challenges. The developments in the area, and we don't have the resources to accommodate everybody.
Sandy, you're very knowledgeable in all things CPF related and the arms that connected to that. So what is your role at the Strandfontein CPF?
I am the chairperson of the Strandfontein CPF. I started out as a neighborhood watch member 16 years ago. I was then elected onto the CPF as the secretary. The entire CPF accepting me, resigned because they were not being heard by the South African Police Services and also other departments as well. I then carried the CPF on my own for 2 years up until we had an AGM. And for the last 10 years, I've been the CPF chairperson. Our constitution says you can only serve 2 terms. And 2 terms meaning it's 5 years per term. So I've served my 2 terms already, and it says you cannot, but it didn't say you may not. So it's also dependent on the community. If the community wants you there, the community gets what the community wants.
That is quite a long time being on the CPF. I'm sure you've made so many connections and stuff. It's probably going to be really difficult to replace you if they do get there. So tell us more about the connection between CPFs and SAPS.
The connection is a show of partnership between the community and the police. So you'll find in various communities, they do not trust the police. They would rather speak to the CPF about drug houses, guns being held somewhere, possible merchant buying into the area, possible extortion at a business, maybe a human trafficking ring. Many times you'll find in various media, you'll find that police was involved in those type of activities, so people would rather prefer speaking to the CPF. And the role of the CPF is not to only window dress for the police, but we want to improve on the relationship between the community and the police. So we also need to identify within the local station that we oversee the corrupt ones, and that is why the importance of the community relation and transparency and accountability with the police is so important. So in our community meetings, we give the platform to the community to hold the police accountable. We do have an anonymous tip-off line, which is my cell phone number. If you know of any police officer that is corrupt, for an example, report it. I will address it on your behalf. So when the people see the CPF, they think of the police. So whenever there's something wrong, whenever there's something, they think, we let the CPF know, they can inform the police. And then with that, we identify, okay, so we're noticing when there's victims wanting to report domestic violence, they want to come straight to the CPF. So we try and enhance the image of the police by ensuring that the police officers that deals, like in frontline service, we call them the visible members. So we ensure that they go for sensitivity training. Become more person-centered. Don't be as detached as what you are. We know in the work or in the field that you work in, you can't afford to be emotionally attached to the people that you deal with. But don't also be too cold towards us, because sometimes people come in there from circumstance that you do not even know, and now they met with a person that is extremely cold, or doesn't understand the trauma that the victim or however has experienced. So now you go and explain to them, to the officers when they stand parade. I also go there at night or during the day, and I will go and speak to them. This is what the community requires from you. When a victim walks in, this is what they want to see. They don't want to see a person that is uninterested. Show interest. When somebody says, or even when they ramble, give them time to gather themselves. Tell them, listen, we do have a private room at the back that you can speak. Give them the opportunity. Show them that not everybody is lazy, not interested, corrupt. You know, it takes one police officer to change the image of how the community perceives all police officers. So you'll find people say things in the community. Not every police officer like that. This constable, this sergeant was very helpful when I was there. Always remember, in the community where you are working in, people are looking at you and how you are servicing them. If you don't provide them with the service that they desire or they expect, remember, you also have to go home to a community that is being serviced by the same organization that you are serving. And you wouldn't want them to give the same pathetic service that you give to our community. So always think like that. And that is what the purpose of the CPF is. Not only to speak to the community about the police, but to also speak to the police about the police. Listen, this is what the community is having a problem with. Help us. Make it easier outside. Let people trust you. They can't phone me 3 o'clock in the morning with a shooting, with a stabbing. Now I have to phone because nobody phones in my airtime. You know, so we build on that relationship, and that is why the importance of the street committees is there. So I don't go alone, I go with the police. So when we establish the street committees, the police is standing there. So automatically the people hold on to what their police officer is saying. We are here to assist you, but we also need your help. So now you build a relationship between the community and the police at street level first. So now people saying that police officer was here is actually a very nice guy. We can actually phone him, you know. So that is the reason why people see us as the police, but it's actually we're only a community-based organization representing the community, but also trying to improve and enhance the relationship between the community and SAPS.
It seems like an important and vital bridge to have these CPFs, or active and working CPFs in communities. But who funds this?
The CPF is a volunteer organization. It's made up of volunteers. So we take the responsibility as residents to do this voluntary without any pay. However, the Department of Community Safety has signed an agreement with CPFs to give an amount of 5,000 Rand a year. And that is to run all your projects, programs, and also for your administration costs and running of the office at the CPF. So our offices are based in the police station. So the equipment inside the office is obviously SAPS equipment. And depending on how long you've been the CPF chairperson and how you have built your relationship with the community and organizations and businesses within the community, you can also ask for sponsorship. So maybe somebody can sponsor a laptop or a printer, or if we have any programs, but we need things to be printed, we reach out to the business organizations. Are you able to print this for us? This is the purpose. The Department of Community Safety also has a grant in aid application as well, where, for an example, we have a festive season coming up now soon, and we usually have programs or safety initiatives during the festive season, and we can apply through funding through them. But furthermore, we don't get a salary, a stipend, or any other type of thing. I mean, 5,000 Rand a year is nothing. That's not even your petrol.
Yeah. When you were saying 5,000, I thought you were going to say 5,000 a month, and I was already thinking, geesh, that's not enough. And then you said a year. It was just like, yikes. Wow. It's amazing that you guys do all of this work on that little. What is the impact that CPFs have in communities and the society in the broader perspective?
The impact that the CPF has within the community, it's the highest volunteer structure in the country. We're dealing with people's safety. It's something that is on everybody's tongues. Crime, safety. So the role that we play is very, very, very important. We need to ensure that what we are doing, we are passionate about it. Because if you're not passionate about safety and other people's safety, you're not passionate about what you are doing, you're never going to have an impact within the community. Being on the CPF is not just holding the police accountable. It's not just about doing police oversight. It's also about identifying the problems within the community. If it is domestic violence, equip, empower, and educate your community. So you equip yourself, empower yourself, so you can go and educate the rest of the community on gender-based violence and femicide, the LGBTQIA plus community, and also what are your rights as an elderly person? What is your rights, person with disability? What are your rights when you are arrested? So we need to also educate our people, because a lot of our people don't know the law. And we try and simplify it for everybody to understand, even the illiterate. So that means going on to school, speaking to them about drugs, speaking to them about gangs, speaking to them about the recruitment process. It does not mean that you are in standard 2, that they are not interested in you. That is the time when they are the most interested in you. So we have to go to ECD level. People always ask, what do you do at the creche? We speak about bullying, because in the home, there's abuse in the home, and children replicate the behavior they see in the home. And that behavior ripple effects into the creche, from the creche into the school, from the school into the streets, and it becomes an entire community's problem. And the same with drugs. So our role is not just to provide an oversight role, but to also educate and empower our community through awareness campaigns, through workshops, through just talking to people, knowing and informing them we are here for this purpose, not just policing, So I believe that we make a massive impact in the community. If we didn't, then I don't think we would have been serving more than 2 terms. So I think we have been making a positive impact in the community. However, we do have our flaws. We also have burnout. We also suffer from anxiety. There are also within our structure, one of the EXCO members' sons was murdered. So there is also depression, there's also bereavement there as well. So we also experience our own challenges within our lives, and yet you'll find the community would think that we are always on it. They expect us to be available, but they don't know that you also have to set boundaries. And when it's your time out, it's your time out. And people sometimes cannot understand that, and they forget that we are also volunteers. But I think it's because we've spoiled them by always being available, by always being there, because it's part of what we do, and we don't want to come across as we are failing people, because there's enough services out there failing people. But we need to set boundaries as the CPF, not only Strandfontein, but CPFs across the province, because we do the most. We do the most, but it's a very thankless job, or a thankless volunteer responsibility.
It definitely takes a unique type of person to do what you guys do under those circumstances, I must say. You mentioned earlier about a CPF app. Is that something that's just in Strandfontein, or is that something that all CPFs have access to and can use in the community?
The Strandfontein CPF is the only CPF in the province that has a mobile app. The purpose of the app was not only to communicate with people quicker, faster, but was to also draw the youth as well. Because, we are all adults, and we're not going to be doing this forever. We need to make things interesting for our youth, that they can become the future leaders one day. So we need to draw the interest all the time. So the app is basically what we do, who we are. This is what we look like. These are the things that we are currently busy with. So on the app we have a push notification. So the push notification, for an example, it's like an instant message that is sent to your phone. So you have to download the app first and then create a login and password. The app doesn't bother you throughout the day unless there is an emergency. So for an example, there's a missing minor. We need to mobilize the community now. We will send the push notification. We have a missing minor. This is who the minor is. This is where he or she was last seen. We need extra boots on the ground now. And that information will be sent instantly to everybody that has downloaded the app. For an example, if we have an active shooting in the area, we would send that push notification, please stay away from this specific pocket of Strandfontein. There's active shooting taking place. So it's sent immediately. Besides the WhatsApp group chats, we have found that this is more effective. It's quicker. With the group chats, it's sending to 623 groups. It becomes too much afterwards. You won't be able to send the message down quick enough, whereas the app works a lot faster. With the app as well, we have partnered with an organization, Childline, so their link is also on the app. If there is any youth or scholar that suffers from depression, bullying, however, there's also a chat bot that links you directly to a Childline, where they will also then phone you back as the student or minor and discuss whatever has been happening. We're still waiting for the online protection order application to be made available by the Department of Justice, and that link will also be added onto the app as well, making it easier for victims, especially victims that are not able to leave their home, to go and sit in a court because of fear of the perpetrator that does. Maybe the person's economically abused, don't have the money to leave the house, but has money for data. They will be able to apply for a protection order online. So we're still waiting for that app as well. And then the notices is just general information as to what is happening, what is upcoming for the next week. We have a calendar on there as well that we also need to keep updated on a regular. So we do have a PRO that keeps all of those things up to date. And we will also be using the app for marketing purposes to generate some type of funding to either pay for our petrol, airtime, whatever marketing material for our programs that we will be running in future. And yeah, so we'll be reaching out to different businesses. We'll be developing a few packages for them to afford. Maybe it's an advert for a week or advert for a month. This is how many people we have that has downloaded the app. This is how many people that will see the advert for this fee, and the fee will be going towards this project. So it's everything with a cause.
I think that's such a brilliant idea. That app sounds excellent. Thinking about it as somebody in a community, I think that would be so useful. And I'm sure it's so useful for you as a CPF as well to get, as you say, those instant messages out and that. So that's a brilliant idea. Sandy, tell me more about you. How did you get into all of this? What is your background?
My background, I've always been an activist. I think everybody needs to find their place or find their calling, and my calling is definitely to be an activist. That is who I am. It's my makeup. It's something that I'm passionate about. And even though people say, I think it's time that you pack up and leave, even though I also say, no, I think I'm done, this is my last, up until the next thing happens. And I say, no, we need to go and seek justice for this. We'll mobilize the people, I'll write a letter, I'll do this, I'll do that. Often if a new drug house opens in the area or it's a long-standing drug house, I will be the one in front of the drug house with a loudspeaker. So that is who I am. I think it's something that I discovered about myself 15, 16 years ago, and that everything before that I forgot. It doesn't feature anymore, because what I've been doing now has been fulfilling me. People say that, I have this sense of emptiness. I don't have the sense of emptiness because I'm doing what I'm called to do. I don't think if you put me in another arena that I'll be able to function there. This is who I am. So that is me.
That is so awesome. That is really awesome. And you are good at it. So yeah, it fits. Are you ever in physical danger doing what you do?
Yes, I am in physical danger, or I was in physical danger. There was a time I had a mobilization in front of a merchant's house, and the merchant was attached to a specific gang in the area. And I called them out. I alerted the community of the activity happening at that specific house. The police was there. Nothing happened to me there, but it was after that, when they obviously got me when I was alone, was when the informal settlement was burning. And I got the call at about 2 o'clock in the morning to say the informal settlement is burning. So I was too impatient to pull the car out of the bakkie. I ran down and I passed one of the hitman's houses, and he pulled a gun on me, threatened to shoot me. So I said, you must wait until I come back from the informal. But that time it was the adrenaline. My focus was getting there. And only after we had the fire department out, after we've extracted the 2 elderly people from the shack, it hit me that this guy gun pointed me. So I said, okay, I need to take my time in writing this statement, but you don't just get to threaten me and think I'm going to take it lightly. I took 2 days to complete the statement. They arrested him. We appeared in court. He served time for about 8 months. On the 9th month, when he came out for his second hearing, his bail hearing, he asked for forgiveness and said that it was the most dumbest thing that he could have done was to attack a community leader, especially knowing the type of work that we do and why we do what we do. And the magistrate asked me, how do I feel about him coming out? So we all have this idea of criminals, but we don't believe that those criminals is also a family member of somebody else. And we never know when this could be maybe the turning point for somebody. So we also need to believe in restorative justice. As much as how crime is on the increase today, we have to believe in restorative justice by giving people a second chance. So, I forgave him. I said, no, we can go home together. We came home together. And every day, up until he died in a car accident, he asked me for forgiveness. He even used my name as a reference in a job application, cleaning the beaches. The second time, it was during the lockdown period when we were on patrol, when they tried to attack our vehicle on Dennegier. It was also a known gang. There has been quite a few threats since I've been on the CPF. I have been attacked twice, and the way I addressed it was in the media, because the more attention you bring onto yourself, the less attention you're going to be getting from the gang, because now they know that there's too much attention on this one, let us withdraw. And then we allow the South African Police Services to do what they need to do. So we need to then also set an example in the community. When anybody intimidates you, you make a case. You need to be fearless. You need to show that you are not afraid. And then thereafter, I went back onto the turf with my loudspeaker to inform them that you don't intimidate me and you don't cripple the community with your gang slang and your threats. We are the community. We have more power over them. They're one house, one gang. We are an entire community of over plus minus 50,000 people. So they're in the minority, we're the majority. We need to also show our force when we unite as a community that we will never be driven out by gangs or drugs.
Good for you, yeah. Does your work have a negative impact on you personally?
No, it doesn't. I think when it's like a pastor, when God calls a pastor, he calls the whole family. So I have a husband that shares the same passion. So if I'm not available, he's available. He also serves on the safety structures of the Strandfontein CPF. He's in fact a counsellor at our trauma support room. So each police station is equipped with a trauma support room, which we call the Victim Empowerment Program. So no, it has not affected me negatively in my personal life, because my partner shares the same passion.
That's great. What do you find most satisfying about your work?
The most satisfying part of what we do is when the community is satisfied with the service that they received, especially knowing that they have come to us, reached out to us, and we've ensured that the service was delivered to them. Sometimes community sends us compliments. We've noticed a change in the police officers. When we walk in by the police station, they're more friendly, they're a lot happier, they're more helpful. The elderly people, we have a seniors forum, we have a lot of elderly people involved there, where we have the police come out and provide them with a service in the comfort of their own home or at the seniors club. We also obviously network with the disabled persons as well, bedridden people. The police must be able to go into those homes and service that person that is bedridden. That is their responsibility. And it shouldn't be the responsibility of the CPF to constantly remind them of the responsibility. It's something that should come naturally. So it's important for us to address things like this before it becomes a complaint, so that when the service is required, the police provides a service. So when people come with compliments, we are extremely happy, but we are also happy when people come with complaints, because it gives us an opportunity to change that negative into a positive up until the next complaint comes in. So that is how you constantly try and improve the service. Like in every workplace, nothing is ever going to be perfect. Nothing is ever going to be according to your need. Everybody feels maybe this is the right way, but the other group of people may feel that it's not the right way. This is the right way. So you can't please everybody all of the time, but we can at least try and please people some of the time. So that is the most rewarding part of the job. And the other rewarding part is when we do talks at the school. We've established a junior CPF team. And there wasn't even a need to explain to them what their purpose and role and function is, because they watch us. And that is the important thing, is when they watch you, what are they seeing when they watch you? So when we go out there, we're ambassadors of the Community Police Forum. We are the role models that a lot of youth don't have in their home. We're often saying, there's a role model in your house. Maybe there isn't a role model in the house. Maybe you as the community leader is that role model. And wherever you go, remember there's always an eye watching you. So when we go and reach out to do our community outreach, people recognize you for the work that you have done. And you hear things like, I always see what you do, and when I grow old, I want to become like you. So when we established the junior CPF, There wasn't even a need to explain to them what they have to do because they know now what they need to do. So the next function that they will be doing is establishing a youth patrol group, because the people on our neighborhood watches are all elderly people, 50 years old up. We want to empower and equip the youth now already, so when they are of the age of 18 to patrol, they would know already what needs to be done, what is the requirement. And with that, they're also able to get into either SAPS or law enforcement because you have that experience.
That's excellent. Let's end off with a funny story. Do you have something funny to tell us about an experience or just something more weird and random that happened to you?
I think the funny, interesting story for me is the types of complaints that we get from residents that feel it's urgent. We received an emergency complaint at Strandfontein SAPS. The person was freaking out on the phone, screaming, shouting that the police needs to come immediately onto the corner of Church and Spindler, which is right there by the robots, and said that there's an obstruction within the road and the police needs to come immediately. And the officers took it, it's probably a real emergency, the way this person was over-exaggerating on the phone. And when they pulled up with the two vehicles, it was Mary and Joseph, the two goats from the informal settlement that was standing in the middle of the road. And this person was performing, thinking that somebody's vehicle either is going to be damaged or the animals is going to be knocked and the animals are going to die. So the Sergeant Lenting calls in and he says, listen, it's not an emergency. The person was a bit over-dramatic. It's the two goats. So we all came out because it's just a couple of meters from the station, and they were trying to shoo the two goats, and I recognized the goats as Mary and Joseph because they're familiar to us in the area, because they often parade through the community, and you'll find people saying like, if only we can just slaughter it, but we know the owner. It's Mary and Joseph, they're always together. And we watched the sergeant try and guide the goats. It was hilarious because the people at the robots, nobody bothered to observe the traffic signals. By the robot is green, you need to obviously drive, because they wanted to see what is going to happen with the two goats. And the two goats were adamant they're going to stand dead in the middle of the road. They're moving absolutely nowhere. We took videos and pictures of Sergeant Lenting and his partner trying to get the Mary and Joseph out of the road. So for me, that was like one of the highlights.
Oh my goodness gracious. Mary and Joseph causing chaos. Thank you so much, Sandy, for your time and for sharing your insight and your knowledge and your experience of community police forums. I've learned a whole lot through this interview. And all the best with everything that you do, and I hope you get lots of support and everything that you need to continue this good work.
Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure being here.